22 is when I really got into handheld gaming. My son was a big fan of the Nintendo Switch. I ended up buying him one, and I ended up falling into the trap of getting into the Nintendo Switch as well. As of right now, I've bought in 4 Switches already, and I've been on my Switch, for the most part, maybe 3 out of 7 days as of late. It's been really fun to play. Now, this is the thing I've been looking at going forward when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. You look at these other handhelds that are out there, Microsoft, and I think, even PlayStation is getting back into the fold of making handhelds. And I think this is a situation where handheld gaming could really take over the entire market. This is nothing to really sneeze at, even though I'm the type of guy that want to buy, consoles. I want to build my own PC rig. I want to do all those things, and I'd rather play on a monitor or a TV. But I cannot deny that the fact that you have these handhelds like the Switch and the other handhelds that are out there that, I really can't name it so many. They are doing a great job of giving you a PC, PlayStation 4 at the very least experience at the handheld level. This is a really big deal when you start to look at this. Now, I was into handhelds 2022. That's when like I said, when I started playing the Switch. But beforehand, I did buy Ambernick. I think it was like a 503 or 506. I can't remember, but this was way before I really was in the handhelds. I just caught on to the hype train, and I thought it was a cheap and cool idea just to get a handheld with a bunch of emulators on where I can go play SNES, Sega Genesis games, and I thought it was cool. Lo and behold, I didn't know this rabbit hole goes so deep to where you can start playing even, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Wii, and in some cases, PS3 level type games in these handhelds. It started to get real crazy where some of these handhelds are like really, really good. And now you're looking at stuff like the Steam Deck. I think the other one, is like the ROG or ASROG or something. I don't know the names of them. But I'm starting to see like how powerful these handhelds are. And I'm like, well, if they can get these things to hook up to a TV like the Switch, it's probably a wrap. Nobody's going to be wanting to buy a really big rig. I ain't going to say nobody, but there's going to be people out there that probably don't want to buy a whole rig and play their games in front of a desk like I do. They're going to be able to play those same type of games at a pretty solid quality on the go. And when they get ready, they can hook it up to a television. This is where the Switch 2 comes in. Already the Switch 1 is already been a big hit with Nintendo where you can do both handheld and hook up to a TV, and people are like going nuts with this. My son, for instance, he has the OLED version of the Switch and he loves the screen. It's so good. He doesn't really want to put it to a TV unless it's about to die, and then he'll hook it up to the TV and then he'll play on that level. But the flexibility of what you can do with high quality games right now is a really big deal. It's a really big selling point. And people are starting to see that, even these execs, where I'm hearing there's probably a Microsoft handheld. PlayStation's going to get back into the fold at some point, I think. And you just have all these other mechanisms where the Steam Deck is absolutely going, bonkers as far as what they thought they was going to be able to sell. And you got these other handhelds that are out there, not to mention all the other ones that are made overseas, like the Ambernicks and the Retroid Pocket, all of those things. There's like YouTube channels dedicated to these handhelds. And it's a rabbit hole that, you go down, you're going to realize like this is a prominent pillar in the gaming community. It's not just exclusive to the Switch. So what I really would say is, if they get to the point where you can get at the bare minimum or at the maximum, I guess I said it backwards the first time. If you can get the bare maximum to where you can get at least PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X quality out of a handheld, and you can hook it up to a TV, it could be a wrap for a lot of other gaming aspects, even the actual consoles. I know the PS6 and the next Xbox is supposed to be like this next big thing, but I think at the end of the day, if you give somebody good quality and they have the flexibility to move around, they're going to do well. And it may cannibalize that console space. Believe it or not, it could happen. Some people just like the level of convenience when you are playing certain games. And then don't let some of these handhelds be able to be like legit backwards compatibility to where like it was with the Embernic that I bought, where I could play NES, Atari, or I could play Genesis, PlayStation 1. I played that Embernic I had is really, is old by, technology standards now. But I could play everything up from the NES to the Dreamcast on that thing. And I was like, look, even though I love my consoles and they're not going anywhere, don't get me wrong. There's a reason why I don't have that Embernic anymore. But even though I love my consoles, I'm looking at the average gamer like, look, I can go play Mario on this thing and turn right back around and play Sonic on this as well. Or I could play games that's up to, like, say, I think even the Odin, I think that's another handheld, you could play damn near PS2 games on that. So you mean to tell me I can go from God of War 2, I can play God of War 2 from the original PlayStation 2 at pretty good, resolution, like 960p, which is phenomenal for a handheld. I can turn that off and turn right back around and play Streets of Rage on the same handheld. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You can pretty much do the same thing with a PS3 right now, play God of War and Streets of Rage 2. You could do that. But just to have it at your fingertips like this and then say, you know what? I can go ahead and hook this up to the TV when I get ready. I mean, that's something that these legacy consoles just cannot do. These legacy PCs that it just cannot do. And it is absolutely phenomenal. Now, for me, I don't see myself actually going all the way handheld. I just don't see it. It's not my thing. Even if it's a hybrid, I don't think I can do it. At the very least, it would be something else that I would have in my gaming space. I will always be the fan of building a rig or buying a console or playing the console on a monitor or a TV. That's just how I roll. I just don't feel comfortable, and I know this may be kind of unpopular now. I am not necessarily a fan of, playing a video game in my bed, just sitting up for long periods of time. I would probably do this like if I'm on the road or whatever, or if I'm just sitting on a couch and I just don't feel like coming in this room to play. But it's not something I would do primary or even secondary. I would just get my lazy behind up and just go play the game on said device. This is right here is casual as it gets. But when I look at the totality of everything, even my wife, she plays games on her phone all day long or on her tablet all day long. You mess around and give her this and then realize that you realize that Dr. Mario is on this device via the Nintendo online service. She will play this for a very long period of time. The only thing is she doesn't have the wherewithal to actually walk around with this thing. But at some point, we're going to get accustomed for even casual gamers like somebody like my wife to have one of these things and be like, you know what? I don't feel like using my phone because of the touch screen. I want to use, like a controller, so this is where the handhelds will come in. It is absolutely phenomenal how way technology is going nowadays. And I don't even want to get into the whole situation when it comes to actually inventory and all the stuff you may have in your gaming room, and you can condense all that to a handheld. Is that something some people may do? There's already rumblings out there that people are downsizing their collection because of stuff like this. Now, for me, I'm not going to be sitting in an empty room full of walls and pictures while I'm playing all of my games on one of these. I love the aesthetic of having this stuff up in my room. I'm probably going to be one of the last people that are from the old encyclopedia age where people still have their encyclopedias where everybody else is on Wikipedia. It's just to me, these physical games are just something that will always be sentimental to me, and I can always see myself just having them up, posted up in a game room. I just don't see myself having everything on a handheld, but I can see where this could completely take over a lot of things as far as the gaming world, where people would do this. People are already, coasting with the Nintendo Switch, and that's pretty much taking over what we have as consoles right now. The Switch is like, if it's not one of the highest selling console, it is the highest selling. If it's not number one or number two. So you see where this is going. So that's all I really got to say about it. I do have a feeling that this is going to be a really big deal, especially when the Nintendo Switch 2 come out. A lot of these other handhelds get cheaper when it gets more competitive. When you see Sony and Microsoft possibly put their hat in the ring, it's going to be a game changer. All of this stuff could really be in a situation where a lot of people will be on this, and the big box consoles and the big box PC could become somewhat secondary. But to be honest, I don't see where it will become secondary in the PC, because there's a lot of people on PC, a lot of people on Steam. But I mean, that right there is basically, Steam users, not necessarily people buying new hardware. But I mean, that's just a whole nother story. But let me know what y'all think. Am I tripping? I don't know what I'm talking about. How do y'all feel about the handheld market? How do you feel about the Nintendo Switch 2? For me, like I said, I think it's just going to be something that's going to be really prominent, if not already with the Switch. When we have these other companies coming in and making a difference as well, you really going to be having something else to think about when it comes to gaming. I'm going to get up out of here. Hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I'm out. Peace.